When the children of Israel were being delivered from the bondage of Egypt, being led out of Egypt through the wilderness and eventually into the promised land, they were in desperate need of provision. And so God provided for them this miracle food that was called manna, which literally means, what is it? Because they didn't know what it was. But God provided for them miraculously. And in Exodus chapter 16, you can read this for yourself. God gave them specific instructions to gather enough, just enough for one day, except for on the sixth day, they should gather enough for the sixth day and the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, the rest day, the day that they were to spend in the presence of the Lord, the day that they were to do no work, the day that everything was supposed to be focused and centered on the worship of Yahweh. And so here's the point here that I want to make this connection with the Lord's Prayer. If you want to follow along with me, you can read in Matthew chapter 6. Jesus instructs his disciples how they should pray, what their prayer should be like. And I think sometimes our prayers really miss the mark. We get off beat and we get off path and we get distracted by the things that are happening in the world and the stressors and the pressure and the responsibilities of this life, that we neglect Jesus' purpose and intent for prayer. When Jesus gave this model prayer, he said this is how we should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed or holy be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive those who are indebted to us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Now, very specifically here, there's a couple of times Jesus is referencing praying that God's kingdom would come here on this earth. And that really is supposed to be the central theme of our prayers, not to accomplish our desires here on this world, not to try to get what we want, not to bring a laundry list of needs that we need God to do for us in order for our lives to be happy or healthy or whatever else we might think. No, the primary purpose of prayer should be to ask, to petition, to seek God, that God would institute his kingdom here in this life, here in this world, here on this earth. Now, this is really where I want to make this connection. There's this connection between the manna that was provided and gathering enough on the sixth day for the sixth and the seventh day to this prayer, because Jesus says, give us this day our daily bread. And that word daily in the Greek, it's only used twice. It's only used in Luke's gospel in chapter 11 concerning the Lord's Prayer, and here in Matthew chapter 6. And the word in the Greek is epiousis, which is, it's not even really used in Greek literature much, just here in the scripture. And the word epi, or the prefix epi, means upon, and eusis would be daily or tomorrow. So really, literally what Jesus is doing is he's saying, when you pray, pray that God's kingdom would come on earth as it is in heaven, and pray that God would give us not our daily bread, but upon us God would give tomorrow's bread. What is Jesus saying we should be praying for? Jesus is saying we should be praying for the Sabbath. Jesus is saying we should be praying for that time of rest. Jesus is saying we should be praying for that moment when God institutes his kingdom and we're able to rest in his presence once and for all. It's not just a prayer for daily provision, although that's important. It's a prayer for his kingdom. It's a prayer that says, God, I want not just today's bread, I want to gather for today and tomorrow, because I want to be on the doorstep of your kingdom being instituted. I want to be on the doorstep of your rest. Many Bible scholars believe that we're nearing our 6,000th year, and there's many people who believe that, many Bible scholars believe, which we believe here, that there's a millennial reign of Jesus that is coming. And most scholars believe that there's 1,000 years represents one of those days of creation. And so we've almost eclipsed our 6 days here, our 6,000 years, and there's 1,000 years left, the millennial reign of Christ, the 7,000 years. We're on the doorstep, aren't we, of God's kingdom being instituted here on this life? We're on the doorstep of that rest, of that Sabbath. When you pray, make sure that you pay special attention to God's kingdom. I pray that at the core of our prayer life, for you and for me, that at the core of our prayer life, our prayers would be centered around Jesus instituting his kingdom here in this life, to be delivered from this flesh. Our citizenship is not here on this earth, it's in heaven, and our prayers need to begin reflecting that fact. Friends, don't be so consumed with this life here and now. Make sure that even in your prayer life, that your prayers reflect your heart's desire to see Jesus come and institute his kingdom. That's how he told his disciples to pray.